Well, good morning and welcome. And I want to say thank you to the community leaders and advocates here today as we are making this important announcement that the state has appropriated $1.5 million to determine the scope of sex trafficking in Sacramento and focus on intervention efforts. I particularly want to thank Vice-Mayor Eric Guerra for collaborating with me on this proposal and this fierce advocacy. He had brought this to my attention during the budget process, and I was really thrilled to have the opportunity to be sure we brought in these funds in partnership with the Attorney General. California continues to fight and combat a high number of human trafficking cases around the state. And unfortunately, due to our size, close proximity to other larger cities, and high poverty rates, Sacramento continues to have a significant and dangerous sex trafficking problem. But this is a problem that we are taking on and we are not going to ignore. This is a reality in Sacramento and right here on Stockton Boulevard every day. And as a pediatrician who I was at UC Davis and did a lot of work with community groups here in Stockton Boulevard and spent time seeing patients, I know this is an important public health issue that requires support from the grassroots, the city, and the state. And it's certainly recognized that one of the biggest challenges that in developing a targeted response to sex trafficking and measuring the impact of interventions is actually the lack of reliable, high-quality information. And certainly this issue is an issue that can be difficult to get good information. But we do know that people in poverty, unfortunately African-American women have been targeted, and youth, especially runaway youth, are all disproportionately targeted. However, without a better understanding of the scope of this problem, unfortunately, we won't know whether our interventions are being effective, and there will be continued victimization and poor health outcomes, including substance abuse, increased rise of post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, suicide, and physical harm from violence related to human trafficking. Certainly, Sacramento and California can do more to support the victims and survivors and to address the critical lack of information. This collaborative project, led by Community Against Sexual Harm, will create a survivor-centered model that can be replicated across California. By allowing the evidence-based prevention and early intervention strategies that improve health and well-being of California residents who are at risk of sex trafficking. So I'm pleased to bring up several speakers who are going to address this very important issue and how we're going to use the resources that we're able to get. I first want to introduce our first speaker, Sawan Vaden, a survivor advocate and also the program manager at Community Against Sexual Harm. Sawan.
Good morning. My name is Sawan Vaden, and I am very happy to be here with you guys this morning to talk about the Research Project. I grew up here in Sacramento and was trafficked out of Oak Park at age 13. There was not much help available at that time, and my family didn't know much about professional support. Today, I am the program administrator for Community Against Sexual Harm. We provide important programs and services for victims of sex trafficking. Over the past 3 years, our anti-trafficking program has served 116 women, including a medical safe haven with Dignity Health, and are helping women heal and build a new life. However, we know that we are only helping a small number of women who are being trafficked in the Sacramento County. This research will help us intervene earlier and provide targeted assistance to women who need us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sawan. Next, I'm truly honored to introduce our next speaker, our Attorney General of the state of California, Javier Becerra. Thank you. California is so fortunate to have such a fighter, and I know that usually the work that he's doing in being sure that the federal government is doing right by the people of California is what gets attention. But I really also want to thank you so much for being here, because this also shows he cares about our local communities. He really does care about it, and thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us here in Sacramento. Thank you.
Dr. Pan, thank you for the work that you've done in the legislature on behalf of not just Sacramentans, but everyone in the state of California. We are thrilled that you have taken the time to leave a better paying job as a doctor to go work as a public servant, so thank you for that. I want to acknowledge everyone who's standing here, from the Vice Mayor to all those who've made it possible for mostly young people and mostly young women have a chance. And it is important for us to stand with them when they're willing to stand up for themselves. And that's why I'm pleased to be here. Just last Friday, we at the Department of Justice announced the filing of sex trafficking charges against 6 individuals here in Northern California. They were alleged to have trafficked multiple victims, mostly from the Asian American community, as part of an organized crime ring. Last year, in 2018, here in Sacramento, the Department of Justice and our agents, we arrested and charged an individual with alleged involvement in an international sex trafficking ring. She's accused of trafficking, once again, young Asian women in multiple locations here in the Sacramento area. Then 2 years ago, July 2017, we worked with the Tulare County Sheriff's Department and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and so many other of our partners in law enforcement. And what we did was we uncovered a sex trafficking ring that stretched from not just Tulare County, but all the way down into LA, Vegas, San Diego, San Francisco, and beyond, where mostly Central Valley, mostly young women were once again being shipped and exploited for the benefit of profit for this sex trafficking ring. We filed 54 felony charges against these individuals, and we convicted each and every one of them. Last year, the Department of Justice helped bring down Backpage.com. Some of you are familiar with this organization. They were perhaps the largest internet brothel in the world. And many of us in law enforcement were looking for any way we could to go after them, because they are doing this devious task from the safe haven of some back room with a computer, never having to be in front of the people that they are victimizing. And fortunately, we were able to shut down Backpage.com last year, and we were able to prosecute and convict the CEO of Backpage.com as well. Frequently, the people who advertised on the Backpage.com site were children, people that were advertised as young as 13 years of age. Savon could tell you what that means when you're 13 years of age. The Department of Justice works on trafficking because it is right to do it. These are the kinds of crimes that we want to certainly avoid. But we do it because it's important and we know we must. That's why we're pleased to be able to announce that with the help of Dr. Pan and all the legislators in California, with Governor Newsom, we were able to secure an additional $4 million so that we can be more aggressive in our efforts at the California Department of Justice of going after those who traffic human beings for sex, for labor, or any other purpose. We're hoping now to be able to expand beyond the 2 or 3 task forces that we have statewide to now be able to go and give more coverage to many other parts of the country. Most people would not have said Tulare would have been the base for a sex trafficking ring in California. Why is all this so important? Well, human trafficking is among the world's fastest growing criminal enterprises, and it's estimated to bring in about $150 billion a year globally to those who engage in this crime. It's modern day slavery, nothing more, nothing less. And as you all know, it isn't something that happens just in some other country. It happens here in America. And it doesn't just happen in America. California is the #1 location for sex trafficking in America. And we also know that the victims aren't necessarily victims who are coming from foreign lands and being abused. They are American-born, American-bred young girls, young boys who are being victimized. And that's why it's so important for us to make sure that we take action and take action here in California. That's why I am thrilled that there will be an effort through CASH and all the good work that Savon and others in her team will do to try to help those victims, because we need them to come forward. That's how we find out if something is going on, because the victims can give us the evidence that leads us down the trail to go after these guys. We need folks to feel comfortable, confident to come forward, and we need to provide them with the safety and security if they take their own lives at risk. And so that's why we're here, because when we brought down Backpage.com, when we went after that sex trafficking ring in Tulare, when we were able to go after that sex madam here in Sacramento, we did it as a team of law enforcement working with community leaders, the city, the county. We need to do this together as a team. That's the only way we bring this down, and that's why I'm so thrilled to be part of this team to help us move forward and give young women and young men a chance to see their life grow and prosper the way it should. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney General Becerra, for your work and actually the success that you've had so far, and we hope that this grant will bring further success in eliminating sex trafficking here in Sacramento and the state. Next, I would like to introduce our Vice Mayor, Eric Guerra. This would not have happened without him, so he came to me and said, we have this group, and we could really use the funds, and so I was really thrilled that, and he got a last-minute text from me, like, look, I think I can grab it, but I need it now. And he came through, so Eric. All right, Councilman Guerra, thank you, welcome.
Well, thank you here. I want to, again, give a big round of applause to our Attorney General, our Senator here, and Community Against Sexual Harm, and all of the nonprofit partners who are here today for this effort. Let's give them all a big round of applause. Again, we're here today because we're taking a strong stance and action to stop trafficking, which is equivalent to today's modern-day slavery. Lives are being destroyed every day, and it's not just adults. As you heard from the Attorney General, it's many young kids who are being exploited every single day, and they're happening here in Sacramento County. I'd like to, again, thank our community partners because we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't through all their efforts. We have all different community partners here, from Community Against Sexual Harm, My Sister's House, City of Hope, even First Five, our neighborhood associations from South Oak Park, from the Sacramento Chinese, Indo-Chinese Friendship Association, the Stockton Boulevard Partnership. All of these community nonprofits came together and said, we need to change something. I want to thank our businesses on the boulevard, Frank Louie and the folks on the boulevard, because they're our eyes and ears on the street telling us every day what they see happening outside of their storefronts. And our residents, I want to extremely thank all of our community residents. Councilmember Stephanie Nguyen here, who's been working on the community with many community residents, and Sue Yang here, who live on the boulevard, who've been here, and who said, and Stephanie Francis and Joni Titherington here, who are all here today, who said they want a better life for every person who lives in Sacramento County. It's not only unjust, but we cannot continue to live in a situation where so many young people are being victimized. The city's taken some active efforts to help and assist survivors and to go after Johns. This year, through the help of Lieutenant Stinson in the Sacramento Police Department, who just recently retired. Let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you, Lieutenant Stinson. We were able to allocate $95,000 to help the survivors and victims, survivors of human trafficking. The city's taking on efforts to go after those illicit businesses who are using storefronts to take advantage of people. And we're making it harder and harder for those businesses to continue that type of businesses in the city of Sacramento. And we're partnering with our county and our DA and our Department of Justice to stop pointing the finger and working together on how to solve this issue. But even then, we all here realize that it was more than for just one city or for one county to solve this issue. And that's why we reached out to our Senator, Dr. Pan, and our State Attorney General, a native Sacramentan, Javier Becerra, and we asked for help. And they responded with help is on the way. Over the last few months, we worked diligently to help advocate for this $1.5 million to address this issue in the city of Sacramento, but not just for the county of Sacramento and the city of Sacramento, but to find real solutions that'll help countywide. Again, you heard the Attorney General. He advocated for over $4 million to address the issue of human trafficking. Another $1.5 million specifically for Sacramento County. That means that almost $6 million this year to address this issue that is crippling our people. I want to give them a big round of applause and all our community people a big round of applause because we're putting an end to it now. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Pan.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Next, I would like to introduce Terry Galvin, Executive Director of Community Against Sexual Harm. Terry and Lieutenant Stinson fought very hard to secure this funding, and she will talk about her organization's unique survivor peer-to-peer led model.
Good morning. I am so pleased to be here, and I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to Senator Pan and to Vice-Mayor Guerra and everyone that supported this proposal. We have been a grassroots organization serving victims of trafficking for the past 11 years. We've done that without truly knowing the scope of this problem. This effort is incredibly valuable to us and to other local service providers, but it will also serve as a model that can be replicated throughout the state. Senator Pan and Councilmember Guerra's commitment will lead to interventions and services that will improve the lives of all Californians. We know that many victims of sex trafficking are still unknown. They're not connected to programs and services and not receiving justice for this crime. They deserve our best efforts to understand the scope of this problem in our communities so we can prevent the known devastation that sex trafficking causes, including increased rates of PTSD, depression, suicide, and physical harm from violence. This project will be collaborative and it will be survivor-informed. At Community Against Sexual Harm, we believe that meaningful participation from people with lived experience is crucial to truly understanding and ultimately solving complicated social problems. RTI International, an independent nonprofit research institute, will also serve as a key partner in this important study. They will use a team of experts in victimization, criminology, public health, statistics, and survey methodology to estimate the prevalence of sex trafficking in Sacramento County. I am excited to begin this project because we will finally have useful data that can inform a coordinated, cross-sector response to combat this problem and serve victims. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Let's go on. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. This is only the beginning. This effort comes as state leaders unite to expand healthcare for all, and regional leaders push to revitalize the Stockton Boulevard corridor. And I would like to conclude by thanking the dedicated community organizations and advocates who are here today who have been in the trenches. Frank Louie and Lisa Cordell from the Sacramento Boulevard Partnership for hosting us this morning. Thank you. Citra T from my sister's house. Stephanie Nguyen, Elk Grove City Council member and Executive Director of Asian Resources Incorporated. Thank you, Stephanie. Lieutenant Cindy Stinson, now retired from the Sacramento Police Department and co-founder of CASH. Joni Titherton from the Oak Park Neighborhood Association. Stephanie Francis from the Fruit Ridge Manor Neighborhood Association. Kim Williams from Building Healthy Communities. Aaron Maury from the Sacramento First Five Commission. Michael Blair from South Oak Park Neighborhood Association. I don't think he's made it here, but certainly want to recognize. Oh, there you go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Actually, also, I know Chief Han from the Chief of the Sacramento Police Department. I know the commitment from the Sacramento Police Department. I understand he may not have been able to make it here this morning. Su Ying Plaskett from the Sacramento Indo-Chinese Friendship Association. Thank you. And so many others. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. This investment will help us all build a healthier Sacramento and a healthier California. And with that, I guess if there's any questions from the press, well, take them now. Thank you so very much for being here. Thank you.